おばんです. The appointment was made in handwriting that belonged to no one who worked at the salon. The client arrived exactly on time, sat in the chair without being directed to it, as though she had sat in that chair many times before, which she had. The salon had simply not been there for most of them. Don't honor any appointments you didn't make tonight. It is time for chapter 138. Some businesses inherit more than their previous owner intended to leave behind. The equipment, the clientele, the particular rhythms of a place that has been operating long enough to develop its own patterns, and occasionally something else. Something that has been coming through the door on a regular schedule for longer than any current record of the business accounts for. That finds the new owner behind the counter and sits in the usual chair and waits to be attended to, with the patient expectation of someone whose appointment was made long before the current owner arrived, and who sees no reason why a change of ownership should affect the arrangement. A woman had taken over a small beauty salon from its owner of many years who was retiring. The handover was thorough. Equipment, client records, supplier contacts, the appointment book, a physical book kept alongside the digital system, transferring with everything else. She spent her first week familiarizing herself with the existing clientele, regular appointments, familiar names, everything orderly and well-maintained. She was reviewing the appointment book at the end of her first week when she found them. 4 entries, spread across the following 2 months. Names she did not recognize from any existing client record. Appointments made in handwriting that was neither hers nor the previous owner's. She called the previous owner, asked about the 4 names. A long pause on the other end of the line. Then the previous owner said she had been hoping those entries would simply not carry over, that she had considered removing them before the handover, but had not been able to bring herself to. She asked why. Another pause. The previous owner said simply that the appointments should be honored, that the clients were long-standing, that they required only basic services, nothing unusual, that they had always paid in cash, that they had always been punctual, and that she should not ask them how long they had been coming to the salon. She had asked once, early in her own tenure. The answer had taken some time to understand. If these stories have found their way to you, if you find yourself returning to this quiet room, there is something small you can do, like and subscribe. It tells me, and whatever else watches from this room, that you were here, and that you intend to find your way back. She honored the first appointment out of a combination of curiosity and the particular professional obligation she felt toward the clients of the business she had taken over. The client arrived exactly on time, a woman, older in appearance, dressed with the careful formality of someone from an earlier era. She walked directly to the chair without being directed, sat, looked at the new owner in the mirror with the calm expectation of someone who has been coming to this chair for a long time and expects the standard of service to be maintained regardless of who is currently providing it. the new owner began, and noticed as she worked that her hands were shakkoi, cold in a way the salon's temperature did not account for. I wonder, have you ever inherited something that came with arrangements you did not fully understand? A business, a property, a relationship with someone who arrived expecting continuity you were not certain you could provide? Perhaps you honored the arrangement anyway. Granny is always listening. The client said very little during the appointment, responded to direct questions with brief, appropriate answers, asked nothing about the change of ownership, simply sat in the chair with the settled patience of someone entirely comfortable in a space they have been coming to for a long time. When the appointment concluded, she paid in cash the exact amount, without being told the total, stood, thanked the new owner in a way that felt genuine rather than formulaic, and left. The new owner stood in her salon after the client had gone and thought about what she had just experienced, about the cash paid without being told the amount, about the chair sat in without direction, about the cold that had stayed in her hands throughout the appointment. You are still here. Good. Some stories need a witness all the way to the end. I wonder if something arrived at your door expecting a service you had inherited without knowing it, would you turn it away? She found old photographs tucked inside the lining of a vintage salon cape left hanging in the back room, overlooked during the handover. Black and white photographs, the salon interior, recognizable despite the age of the images. The same mirrors, the same positioning of the chairs, different equipment, different era. And in one photograph, sitting in the chair that was now her chair, a woman, the same woman who had sat in it that afternoon, in a photograph that was at minimum 60 years old. She looked at the photograph for a long time, then placed it carefully back inside the cape lining, hung the cape back in its place, and made a note in the appointment book for the next scheduled visit, in her own handwriting, beneath the entry that had appeared in no one's. I think about businesses that accumulate something across the years they operate. Most of what they accumulate is simply reputation, the known quality of a particular service in a particular place. But occasionally a business that has been serving the same clientele for long enough develops something beyond reputation, a relationship with clients who have been coming through the same door for longer than the current records account for, who sit in the same chair with the same settled patience, who pay the exact amount without being told, who thank you in a way that feels genuine, and who, in the photographs tucked inside old cape linings, have been sitting in that same chair for 60 years, looking exactly as they look today. Ndanyaa, some clientele are more loyal than others. I have always respected that quality, in whatever form it takes. Another whispered story from Japan, shared quietly here beside the kotatsu. If you take over a business and find appointments in the book made in handwriting that belongs to no one you can identify, call the previous owner before you decide what to do. Listen carefully to what they tell you. And if they tell you to honor the appointments, that the clients are long-standing, that they pay in cash, that they are always punctual, that you should not ask how long they have been coming, honor them. Sit the client in the chair they walk directly to. Provide the service they require. Accept the cash they offer in the exact amount. And if your hands are cold throughout the appointment in a way the room's temperature does not account for, simply continue. Because whatever has been coming through that door has been coming for a very long time and has every intention of continuing, regardless of who is currently behind the counter. If this story stayed with you, if the dark or the shadow feels a little closer tonight, you know where to find me. I am always here beside the kotatsu, watching, waiting. And if you wish others to find their way here too, there is something small you can do, like and subscribe. I would not object.